Previously, as Jin-Woo enters the double dungeon, he steps forward and mutters to himself, "This is where it all began. I've returned, but it feels different now." Looking at the statues, he observes, "These aren't monsters, nor are they living beings. They're just puppets. Puppets controlled by something or someone." He senses only one source of magic in the room and walks toward it, asking, "Won't you say anything? Why won't you answer me?" Suddenly, the winged statue comes to life and says, "At last, you have arrived." Meanwhile, in Japan, Yuri Orlov has just landed at the airport. As he's swarmed by the press, they ask how he plans to block off the gate. He explains that he'll use the same strategy he's used before, drawing a massive magic circle around the gate and pouring his mana into it, preventing anything inside from escaping. When asked if he can block off an S-rank gate alone, he admits he can't maintain a barrier by himself. However, the circle can draw mana from its surroundings. If large quantities of mana crystals are placed around Tokyo, the circle will absorb their energy. Over time, the barrier will strengthen and transform into a solid wall. Facing the cameras, Orlov confidently says, "I'm going to save your lives, so make sure you remember that." Chairman Go Gun-hee, watching the interview, comments, "I'm not sure if he can block an S-rank gate, but I'm sure of what will happen if he fails." He then asks Woo Jin-chul what hunter Sung Jin-Woo has been up to. Woo reports that Jin-Woo is currently raiding gates in Seoul. He adds that the Ajin Guild has requested permits for all gates marked on a list. However, those gates are located in districts managed by the White Tiger Guild, Hunters Guild, and Fiend Guild, which may cause some friction. Despite this, the chairman gives his approval. Woo Jin-chul then excuses himself to take a call. The caller reports another gate appearing at a school recently attacked by orcs. While it doesn't seem serious at first, a double dungeon has been discovered inside. More importantly, Hunter Jin-Woo has already entered it. Back inside the double dungeon, Jin-Woo faces the moving statue, which breaks a stone slab and says, "I see you have finally made it this far." Seeing this, Jin-Woo asks the creature if it's okay to destroy the stone slab, and whether it was the one who summoned him here. The creature replies yes, and Jin-Woo asks if it is a monster. The creature responds that Jin-Woo is asking the wrong questions. Instead of asking who he is, Jin-Woo should ask about the identity of himself. The being then declares that the final test will now begin. "If you are still standing by the end of it, I will tell you everything." Jin-Woo sees all the stone statues starting to approach. In response, he begins to summon his shadow soldiers, but the being snaps its fingers and says, "That won't do. This is a test, so cheating is not allowed. You're the only one I wish to assess. I don't care about your servant's abilities." A notification appears before Jin-Woo. "You are no longer authorized to purchase potions or other items from the shop. You cannot use quest rewards or level up bonuses for status recovery. You may not leave this room until the final test is completed." Seeing this, Jin-Woo mutters, "So this is how it's gonna be. I didn't think all the cards in my hand would end up being useless." One of the stone creatures swings its weapon at him. Jin-Woo thinks, "I can still use my inventory. In that case, I'll defeat everyone with just my strength." Before the attack lands, Jin-Woo grabs the sword mid-swing and breaks it in two with sheer force. He hurls one of the broken pieces at the creature's face, but it doesn't finish it off. As the creature begins pulling the shard from its head, Jin-Woo charges forward and kicks it, driving the fragment deeper into its face. Seeing this, the other stone statues begin attacking, but Jin-Woo is too fast. He dodges all their strikes, leaps into the air, and stabs one of them in the head, taking it down. He then notices a distant statue launching an arrow at him. Reacting instantly, Jin-Woo slices the arrow mid-air with his daggers and kicks one of the fragments back at the archer statue, destroying its face. As Jin-Woo continues taking down the stone creatures, he thinks, "I've been waiting for this moment." Watching from above, the creature is impressed and says, "You've achieved so much with the body of a human. I am truly impressed." The creature floats in the air, observing the battle. As the fight drags on, Jin-Woo reflects, "These statues look like they were teleporting before, but now I can see their movements. Each one is strong, but I can do this." The creature comments, "Truly impressive growth, but it's still too early for this test to end." Suddenly, Jin-Woo hears a deep rumbling. He looks back and sees a massive stone statue approaching. It towers over even the powerful monsters he's currently fighting. The entity smirks, watching with anticipation. The scene shifts to the chairman's office where Go Gun-hee is in a meeting. A person hands him some documents, stating that the contract stipulates Japan will give up rights to all the essence stones on Jeju Island. The chairman of the Japanese Hunter Association, Matsumoto Shigeo, explains their reason for this unusual offer. They wish to hire Hunter Jin-Woo. Chairman Go responds that Jin-Woo is not affiliated with the Korean Hunters Association. Matsumoto acknowledges this but states that what they want from the Korean Association is simply a meeting with Jin-Woo, as they've been unable to contact him directly. Hearing this, Go Gun-hee thinks, I can't believe they're willing to give up such a huge amount of money just for a chance to talk to him. He wonders if it's because they no longer have the power to block off the S-rank gate in Tokyo now that Goto Ryuji is dead. After pondering, Chairman Go puts the documents back on the table and says, I'd like to discuss this matter without the interpreters. Speaking in fluent Japanese, he surprises Matsumoto, who asks about it. Chairman Go explains that his father ran a small business in Japan when he was young. Once the interpreters leave, Chairman Go addresses Matsumoto directly. If this is another one of your crafty tricks, I suggest you stop now. Matsumoto is shocked and asks what he means. Chairman Go says he's aware that the Blade Guild has cut ties with Matsumoto. Matsumoto jumps up in surprise and asks how he knows. Chairman Go explains that it was obvious. He noticed the Blade Guild had rejected funding from the Japanese Hunters Association and only accepted government subsidies. The Blade Guild used to be the backbone of the association under Goto Ryuji. But now that Goto is gone, the balance of power is collapsing, and the association is struggling to maintain control. He warns Matsumoto that if the gate in Tokyo isn't sealed properly, he will bear full responsibility. Chairman Go then pulls out a recording device, revealing it belonged to Goto's team. He accuses Matsumoto of malicious intentions and says everything happening in Japan, the death of Goto, the fall of the Blade Guild, internal guild conflicts, and the human cost, will fall squarely on his shoulders. When Matsumoto asks about the device, Chairman Go reveals it's connected to Matsumoto's own receiver. He crushes it with such force that the table beneath it shatters. I'm not cold-hearted enough to let an entire country and all of Asia plunge into crisis because of one man's scheming, he says, adding, You'll have to thank Hunter Jin-Woo for this one. Meanwhile, back in the double dungeon, Jin-Woo continues fighting the stone creatures. Despite taking out many, they keep coming. He notices the giant statue in the back with glowing eyes. It's preparing an attack. Realizing he won't dodge in time, Jin-Woo uses Commander's Touch to lift some statues and forms a shield. However, the massive beam disintegrates the summoned soldiers and breaks through the barrier. Barely dodging the attack, Jin-Woo thinks, I won't survive a direct hit, even at my current level. He decides to go after the larger statue first. As the statue lifts its foot to stomp him, Jin-Woo dashes forward, dodging the blow and leaving a crater behind. The statue smirks, thinking it has crushed Jin-Woo, until he reappears and rushes in again. The statue charges another attack, but Jin-Woo uses Monarch's domain and his speed to get behind it. He combines this with Ruler's authority, realizing the gravitational force is stronger than before. He only used a small amount of mana, but it worked on a massive target. He launches an attack using mutilation, striking the statue's face with his Demon King's daggers, but to his shock, they barely scratch it. Frustrated, he switches to brute strength, targeting a crevice in the statue's head. He grabs hold and unleashes a powerful strike, which causes the creature to panic. Watching this, the winged entity says, I never thought he'd use that kind of attack against my marvelous creation. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo is relentlessly punching the giant stone creature, pouring all his strength into one final blow. I'll show you what it really means to be level 103, he says. With that, he strikes the creature so hard it crashes to the ground. After taking care of the giant enemy, Jin-Woo leaps down into the midst of the smaller stone monsters. They charge at him, but he uses Dominator's Touch to slam them all into the ground, wiping them out effortlessly. As the room clears, Jin-Woo turns his attention to the winged entity hovering over him. The entity applauds and says, That was impressive. Jin-Woo remembers the promise. This being was supposed to answer his questions. However, the creature declares, The test isn't over yet. I'm still alive. Suddenly, an urgent quest notification appears. You must defeat the enemy within the allotted time. Time remaining, 10 minutes. Failing to do so will result in your heart stopping. The winged entity says, I am the final test. Jin-Woo asks who he really is, and the creature, with a smirk, responds, I am the architect of the system. Are you satisfied with that answer? Outside the dungeon, Woo Jin-Cheol arrives with 7 elite hunters from the Korean Hunters Association. As he nears the gate, he feels an overwhelming, bone-chilling mana radiating from it. He asks if others can feel it too, and realizes it's unlike anything they've sensed before. He checks with the team to see which guilds are on standby, and learns that the Hunter Guild is ready to raid. When asked about the 2 S-rank hunters, he's told that both Hunter Cha Hai-in and Hunter Choi Jong-in have agreed to participate. He orders them to join the raid, knowing how dire the situation could be. Inside, Jin-Woo prepares for his showdown with the architect. The creature transforms its wings into arms and charges with immense speed, landing a powerful punch that sends Jin-Woo flying into a wall. Without giving him a moment to recover, the architect continues the assault. Jin-Woo manages to dodge and tries to create distance. The architect launches a barrage of punches, but Jin-Woo blocks them all. Impressive, the creature admits. You're exceeding my expectations. He then punches Jin-Woo in the face, thinking the fight is over, only to be shocked when Jin-Woo charges back and delivers a brutal punch that knocks the architect back several feet. I never thought I'd have this much fun fighting a human. The architect grins. I never believed a human could be a worthy opponent. Jin-Woo thinks to himself, this guy invited me here as soon as I reached level 100. He probably thought I wouldn't stand a chance. But I can do this. He demands answers. Why did you create the system? Why did you choose me as its player? What's happening to this world? The architect lunges at Jin-Woo again, saying, maybe you think you won't get answers if you kill me. Jin-Woo tries to maintain distance, realizing that close combat is dangerous. He uses ruler's authority to fight from afar, but the architect counters with a massive explosion. Jin-Woo realizes he can use the same skills I can. My ranged attacks are useless. The architect declares, whether you kill me or not, the answers have already been predetermined, since the moment I designed everything. He summons all the weapons in the room and hurls them toward Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo demands, how did you design all of this? How could you give me this much power? The architect calmly responds, I didn't choose you. In fact, I was against it. I'm merely the architect and moderator of the player selection system. With 6 minutes remaining, Jin-Woo knows he has no time left to stall. He resolves to face the architect head-on. The architect ascends and says, I'll use my full power for the rest of this fight. He charges forward, but Jin-Woo vanishes and reappears, dodging the flurry of attacks with supernatural precision. How are my senses getting sharper? Jin-Woo wonders. I can sense every move he makes. He lands a clean strike on the architect's face. The architect is stunned. I'm using full force. How is he keeping up? He's even getting faster. Jin-Woo slices off one of the architect's arms. The architect realizes this is a fake body, yet he can still make me feel pain. Looking at Jin-Woo more closely, he thinks, so that's why he was chosen. It's just a fraction, but it's in there. In rage, the architect screams, you're just a mere human. How dare you, and resurrects all the stone soldiers. With 3 minutes left, Jin-Woo rushes into battle again. He uses ruler's authority to sweep through the revived enemies. A massive statue tries to punch him, but he dodges, closes in on the architect, and attacks with overwhelming speed, cutting off another of its arms. The architect counters, sending Jin-Woo flying into a wall. Jin-Woo turns and sees a familiar enemy, the same giant stone soldier who nearly killed him in their last encounter. Fueled by rage, he slams his elbow into its head, splitting it in two. Turning back to the architect, with 2 minutes remaining, he pours all his strength into one final, devastating attack. The entire room erupts in a massive explosion. As the dust settles, Jin-Woo stands victorious over the fallen architect. The test is over. The architect speaks one last time. The answers lie within you. A notification appears before Jin-Woo. The data stored in your memory will be retrieved. The creature tells Jin-Woo that the choice is his. He hesitates for a second and decides to accept. Suddenly, the place lights up, and Jin-Woo is teleported to another dimension in spirit form. Below him is an enormous army of monsters. Seeing them, Jin-Woo is terrified. He notices that all the monsters are looking up toward the sky and wonders what has caught their attention. Turning around, he sees a gigantic gate looming in the sky. A purple sky and hordes of monsters. This can't be planet Earth. Looking closer, he notices the army is made up of ice elves, high orcs, goblins, giants, and many other types of monsters. He realizes that if this army were to pour through the gate onto Earth, humanity wouldn't stand a chance. Suddenly, the sky begins to shatter, and soldiers with angel-like wings begin descending. These are the Silver Soldiers, the army of heaven. Soon, an epic battle begins between the Silver Soldiers and the monster army. The air is filled with the clash of weapons and the sound of armor breaking. Blood stains the battlefield as war cries quickly turn into screams of agony. The Silver Soldiers are strong and are dominating the monsters. Just when it seems the battle is nearly over, the Silver Soldiers suddenly halt one by one. A new presence enters the battlefield. Jin-Woo is shocked. It's the domain of a monarch. The mysterious figure begins using shadow extraction on the fallen monsters, raising them from the dead. Jin-Woo realizes who this is, the Shadow Monarch. An immortal army is born from death. The monsters who had sacrificed their lives now rise again, their blood turning dark and dense, filled with newfound strength. Jin-Woo is overwhelmed. He can summon so many shadow soldiers. I can't even compare. The revived monsters charge once again. Shadow and Silver armies become entangled in a fierce, explosive battle. The ground shakes. The Silver Soldiers should have won easily, but the tide turns with the appearance of a single being, the Shadow Monarch. The Monarch cuts through the Silver army with ease, using a skill Jin-Woo recognizes as Dominion's authority. The Shadow Soldiers fall and rise again endlessly, wearing down their enemies through relentless resurrection. Wherever the Monarch walks, a path of destruction follows. Victory seems imminent for the Shadow Monarch and his army, until they appear. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the Double Dungeon. Woo Jin-Chul, Cha Hai-in, Choi Jong-in, and other hunters arrive. Sensing the enormous mana emanating from the chamber, Cha asks Woo if he's sure Jin-Woo is inside. But something feels off. This mana, it isn't Jin-Woo's. So whose is it? As they enter, they're shocked. Shattered stone statues and stone soldiers litter the room. Woo Jin-Chul mutters, "It's all true. The statues and sculptures actually exist." As they look around, a voice speaks. "I don't recall inviting humans here. What an unexpected surprise." Startled, the hunters wonder if they imagined a monster speaking. But the architect reveals himself, commanding them to be silent. "How dare you disturb the king in his slumber?" They wonder, who is the king he's referring to? In the corner, they spot Jin-Woo standing silently. Suddenly, some of the hunters are cut down as the architect speeds past them. "You strong humans will make excellent first offerings to the king." Back in Jin-Woo's vision, portals begin opening and new armies march out. Jin-Woo recognizes them. They are the armies of the monarchs: Quereshah, the plague monarch; Baran, the demon king; Raykan, the beast monarch, and others including monarchs from clans like Rokan, Yogamint, and Legia. Among them is a gigantic wolf, signaling the beast monarch's presence. They all come to a halt in front of the Shadow Monarch, and the stage is set. The final battle is about to begin. The scene shifts back to the hunters in the Double Dungeon, where they are trying to defend themselves against the architect and its soldiers. Choi Jong-in instructs the hunters to use everything they've got and move the wounded to the back. The architect ominously tells them, "By the time my puppets collapse, anyone who is alive will have the great honor of witnessing the king's birth, if any of you survive." As the colossal statue charges, Choi orders everyone to take cover. He dodges the attack and counterattacks with a fireball to the creature's face. He tells the other hunters to use this chance to destroy the stone statues. Woo Jin-Chul prepares to strike and punches the statue, but is shocked to see it has no effect. Choi attacks again with a fireball, but his magic also fails to damage the creature. The guild members panic, realizing none of their skills are working. Choi concludes that they are out of options and must wake up Jin-Woo, thinking he is under hypnosis. He throws a fireball at Jin-Woo, saying it's the only way to wake him. But before it reaches Jin-Woo, the architect blocks it and springs at Choi, furious that someone dared to disturb the king's slumber. Choi is stunned and unable to move, convinced it's over for him, until Woo and other hunters stop the architect. Jin-Woo, still trapped in a vision, witnesses a battle between the Shadow Army and all the demon clans. He observes that the shadows regenerate endlessly and thinks, if those had been my soldiers, I would have run out of mana by now. It's like he has a bottomless pit of it. Jin-Woo wonders if the Shadow Monarch wasn't on the same side as the monsters, or if there was some internal conflict. After the battlefield is silent, littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. The Shadow Monarch approaches the defeated leader of the demon clans and asks, "We had a chance to end this war today. Why did you betray me?" The creature responds, "It's too bad I was unable to get rid of you." The monarch, furious, demands an answer again, but the creature speaks in demonic tongue. Enraged, the monarch picks him up by the mouth and crushes his face with his bare hands. Even this isn't enough to kill the demon. The monarch stares into its eyes and thinks, "Where have I seen them before?" Removing its helmet, he discovers it's Baran, the demon king. Shocked, he wonders what Baran was doing there. He begins to look at his hands in confusion, and we realize that it was Jin-Woo all along, the one fighting the demon clans and the silver soldiers. Jin-Woo is baffled that he didn't realize this sooner. He notices a heartbeat inside his chest, then discovers he has two hearts, a normal human heart and a black one. Suddenly, silver soldiers start descending from the sky, and a notification appears. Playback of retrieved data has ended. Back in the double dungeon, the architect speaks to Cha Hai-in, calling her quite interesting. He asks her to push beyond his designs. She attacks with sword dance, but the architect blocks it effortlessly and counterattacks, injuring her shoulder. As she screams, the architect explains that the dungeon system predicts and responds to every outcome, and their weapons are useless against the statues. Suddenly, Choi Jong-in lands a surprise hit on the architect, giving Cha the chance to run toward Jin-Woo. But as she looks back, she sees the architect behind her, ready to grab her. She dodges in time, and the architect, seeing a shadow on her shoulder, asks what her relationship is with Jin-Woo. She says, "We're friends. I'm here to save him." The architect smiles and says, "Then I'll give you a chance. Today is the day one of the greatest monarchs in this world will rise. You may watch, but the rest of the humans will die." Just then, a voice responds, "Who said that?" And the architect is punched in the face by Jin-Woo, shattering its mouth. As the creature falls, Jin-Woo demands, "What have you done to my body?" All the hunters breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that Jin-Woo is awake. As Jin-Woo crushes the architect's face under his foot, the architect protests, "You're not the king. How can you control yourself, even with the black heart?" From this, Jin-Woo realizes the overwhelming power is coming from the black heart. A notification appears. Mana increased by 100,000. Analyzing the architect's reaction, Jin-Woo confirms this wasn't supposed to happen. The black heart wasn't meant to benefit him. All the data he retrieved hadn't given him a full answer. Jin-Woo asked the architect, "You said you were against choosing me as a player? Why? What was the point of choosing someone? What were you trying to do?" In desperation, the architect screams, "Shadow Monarch, you've got us. Do you think the other monarchs will stay quiet after what you've done?" Jin-Woo draws his daggers and demands an answer. Meanwhile, the hunters panic as they see all the previously inactive statues come to life. The architect warns Jin-Woo that if he is killed, no one will be able to stop the dolls. Jin-Woo coolly asks, "What if I kill you and take care of them myself?" The architect claims that if he dies, the system will collapse. Jin-Woo smirks, saying, "There was always the possibility I could go back to being an E-rank hunter." He explains that just because the system's creator disappears, doesn't mean the system will vanish. The architect attempts to access the system, but is blocked by repeated notifications. Access denied. Stunned, he turns to Jin-Woo, who tells him, "I'm going to kill the system. I'll swallow it whole." Refusing to accept reality, the architect yells that it must be a system glitch. In frustration, he lunges, but Jin-Woo slices him into pieces with his daggers. As the pieces fall, the architect delivers one final prophecy. When the pillars of fire that hold the heavens are raised, an inevitable death will approach your way. Jin-Woo, with a steely glint in his eyes and a cold smirk, simply responded, "As you please." The episode ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you next time.